From the BCG studio in the Mission Dolores district, right in the heart of San Francisco, it's BCG News with Barrett Courtney.
Thank you so much. Thank you over here. Thank you over there. And thank you kindly over here. What's up, everybody? My name is Barrett Courtney, and this is BCG News. Now, you might be wondering, if you're a regular watcher of the show, you're probably wondering, where the fuck are you, Barrett? This isn't the regular BCG Studios place that you record BCG News at, right in the heart of San Francisco in the Mission Dolores district. It's not. Unfortunately, I like to record BCG News on Wednesday, so I have enough news to talk about when the episode goes up on Friday. And we had access to the studio earlier this week on Monday to record Talking Shit, but it wasn't far enough in the week where I had enough news to talk about for the episode this week. So I said, you know what, guys, I'll just record it on my own with my blue microphone and my iPhone 5C right here in the B studio for BCG, which is the studio that we typically record our Let's Plays in. Now you know where we record the Let's Plays. But don't worry, we still have a fantastic episode for you guys today with a lot of news, much like the reviews are up for Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, and they don't look great. The score for Rotten Tomatoes on the day that I'm recording this is currently a 37%. If you want my thoughts on the movie, a review should be up by now. I can't give any impressions while I'm recording this because obviously I've not seen the movie yet. So there's a lot of debate going on about the reception of Batman v Superman, at least right now, the day that I'm recording this. There's a lot of, is it actually good, or is it a fan service, or is it enough fan service? Is it actually like a good movie? Is it shot well? What's the production like, and are the twists in the movie worth it, and whatnot? I'm just gonna say this: if you're a nerd, if you say that you're a nerd and I don't even care if you're not a big fan of comics or whatever, if you want to be relevant in the nerd sphere, you have to go see this movie. And because it's a big topic, a big debate, so don't shit on the movie if you haven't seen it yet. Most of you probably haven't seen it yet because you're probably busy with your jobs and work and your dumb children or whatever. So you haven't had the chance to see it because this is Friday morning. And I highly doubt you want to go see it Thursday night like I fucking did. Watch my review right here. Hopefully I'm smart enough and put like a link that you can click onto my review. But it seems like this is going to be a movie that's critically canned, but fans will like it. And I'm going into it with no big expectations. I'm not going into this thinking like, oh, the Christopher Nolan style of filmmaking is going to be back in the DC universe. No. I'm hoping for some fun action, maybe some more comic book like more modern comic book like Batman, because I don't think we have seen that yet in a Batman movie just yet. So that'll be cool to see. But you also have to take critics reviews of comic book movies with a grain of salt. They tend to, and this is just some advice, I know this because I am also a pretentious movie critic. I recently had a discussion with Alex O'Neill about this, Alex O'Neill from Irrational Passions, if you didn't know. I had a discussion with him yesterday about how I'm sort of a pretentious film critic and how I personally actually don't I don't mind things being spoiled for me when it comes to comic book movies, because I already know so much about the lore, so I can focus more on the actual workings of the production side. And I think that's what is happening with these reviews, is that a lot of these critics are going in like, okay, like, how does this play out? Like, does the music work for the scene? Blah, blah, blah. And I'll probably pay attention to that shit too. Trust me. But I don't think anybody went in, a lot of the reviewers, I don't think went into this thinking, maybe we should just take this as it is, because I think DC still has a lot to prove, and it was obvious that this wasn't going to be the one to do it, so it's sort of weird that people were expecting that. I don't know. It's sort of hard to get a grasp on my thoughts on it yet while I'm recording this. But like I said earlier, my review is up now with Ricky Baldazan, so check that out. Next piece of news that I have, not so surprising news. Star Wars The Force Awakens has been leaked online to torrent sites before the Blu-ray and DVD release date of April 5th. Disney and Lucasfilm have issued takedown requests to Google in hopes to dwindle the hundreds of thousands of downloads the movie already has. This is sad, but it's an interesting thing of torrents and piracy and all that stuff, and obviously Kanye West is a big name associated that with right now, and there's a big debate on that, and obviously I'm part of that argument of you should be able to, or not, but you should pay your artists for the work that they have done, because I am I used to be part of, like, this is sort of a different side of the art, not a different side, but a different angle of the argument, is I used to be an aspiring actor, an aspiring director, and I've learned that a lot of theaters in America specifically are sort of non-profit. They aren't funded by any, like, big things. Like, art isn't taken seriously, and art doesn't pay well. And I know, obviously, that's a tough argument when Star Wars The Force Awakens is one of the top-grossing movies of all time. So I know I know it's sort of flip-floppy for me to say, like, oh, artists don't make anything, but then this movie made, like, $2 billion. But I think just based off of, like, there are artists out there who don't make any money because of shit like this, or just because they're not being noticed. I think that because of that, you should withhold that kind of thinking for all artists. You should respect that for all artists. So I just wanted to bring this up because I don't think I really talked about torrents before, and you should be able to pay, if you're able to pay for the art somewhere else, like on iTunes, or buy it at Best Buy. If that is available for you, then fucking do it. Now, there are some exceptions, and I might make this a talking shit topic at one point. I won't go down that rabbit hole, but it's just interesting because I am sort of torn between of, like, oh, they're losing so much money, but they've already made $2 billion, and I don't know. What are your thoughts about torrenting? Leave them in the comments below, and I might bring them up in talking shit sometime too. Anyway, our third piece of news this week. After reports of Nintendo stopping Wii U production later this year, the company has come out to deny said rumors. One of the quotes I pulled from the official Nintendo statement was, quote, "The company plans to continue production through and beyond the next fiscal year," unquote. This is interesting. I think it's almost like if Nintendo is smart, which I don't think they are anymore. If Nintendo was smart, they leaked this stuff on purpose to see what everybody's reaction was, because Nintendo is very separated from a large portion of its audience, which is in America. So they probably feel separated on general thoughts of the Wii U right now. So if they were smart, they leaked this and probably came up with a consensus of, oh, people probably think this is a smart idea to end production, so let's actually end production. Because if you see, let me read this quote again. The company plans to continue production through and beyond the next fiscal year. That's probably the official plans right now. But again, if they are smart, but again, I don't think they are. Let's say this is sort of like my Nintendo and how I would have done it. Like, I would say, like, officially, yes, we plan to keep producing the Wii U. Oh, this leaked, and, you know, fans think it's a good idea. Oh, well, plans fucking change, all right? So maybe they'll see the reaction to this and think, maybe we should stop production on Wii U, because you know what? They're losing money at this point. I know the Wii U sales went up 151% after Pokken Tournament went out, which is like, okay, 151 Wii U sold in Japan after Pokken Tournament came out. It doesn't fucking matter. There's still elongating the production of the Wii U is just going to make things worse and worse and worse for Nintendo. It's going to be a constant reminder, even after the NX is out, which I might talk about in a second, it's still a constant reminder of like this bad taste that we have for Nintendo. So I think it's smart, Nintendo, if you're watching this, and you are absolutely not, drop Wii U like a fucking hat once the NX comes out. Just do it. You guys are probably going to announce NX officially at E3, and hopefully you're smart enough in being like, hey, it's coming out later this year, and not like, hey, we're announcing this thing, it's coming out next year. You got to get this thing out now, and once it is out, drop the Wii U like a fucking bad hat. Just drop it. Now, I didn't put this into my official list of news because I sort of forgot about it, but leaked, and a leaked quote, air quotes here, leaked images of the rumored NX controller have come out, and they're a little interesting. A lot of people, and I want to talk more about the reactions to this controller, more than the controller itself, is a lot of people are negative about this controller right here, and I don't understand it. I know it's a different shape. The size is definitely a factor, but I just want to say, have you held it in your hands personally? I know looking at something and feeling it are two very different things. When I saw the Xbox One controller, I was like, oh, it's just the Xbox 360 controller again. But then I held it in my fucking hand, and that is the best feeling controller ever. And it's hard to describe why. Now, I know the NX controller looks really weird and different, and it looks like it has a lot to do with touchscreen again. Obviously, Nintendo has not learned from Wii U to an extent. I think the gamepad for the Wii U was a smart idea, but it was just too fucking big. So Nintendo has they have this idea of just touchscreen stuff. They love the idea of touchscreen, and they've taken the biggest complaint about the gamepad, which was based off of touchscreen. They took that and were like, oh, we should just make it a little more compact, a little more smaller. So who knows? If they're confident about this, maybe it does feel all right. Judge it after you hold it into your hands. Now, of course, I say Nintendo might be confident about this, but again, they are also confident about the Wii U, so what the fuck do I know? Anyway, next piece of news. If you ever wanted to see me scream like a little girl, you should have probably seen my reaction to this news when I first saw it. After being dropped by Paramount nearly a week before its intended release, The Little Prince has been saved by Netflix. Although it's a little late for the movie to still come out on March 18th, Netflix still plans for the movie to be able to stream sometime later this year. This is fucking awesome news. I wrote a little thought piece about this when Paramount originally dropped The Little Prince for domestic release, and I was really upset because I think the story of The Little Prince is actually very important for children and adults, and it's reading that book, when I read that book, it was a very seminal time in my life, and I wrote in this little post that why that book was important to me, and because there's a lot of great themes that are sort of a little more, might go over the head of kids, but it's still enjoyable to a kid's eye, but then the themes also reach the adults, and that's what makes a great sort of family movie, and when you have those two things. So I honestly don't know why Paramount would drop something like this, like this kind of idea, where it could be one of the best critically acclaimed animated movies ever. Now, I know I'm probably overstating the quality of this movie, but I still think it's going to be awesome, and I hope, and I still don't know because now it's being released by Netflix, so I don't know the whole rule set of this, but if it's as good as I think it's going to be nominated for Best Animated Movie for the Oscars, and it will probably fucking win. I don't give a fuck about Zootopia. Little Prince all the fucking way. Watch that trailer. Watch the first trailer for The Little Prince and try not to cry like a little piece of shit like I did. All right? If the movie is even like, I don't know how I want to word this, but if the movie is as good as the trailer, holy fuck, this movie is going to be perfect. So, obviously, I'm glad The Little Prince is officially coming out still. I was really upset when I thought it wasn't going to come out anymore, because I need that movie in my life. Anyway, if you happen to be Ricky Baldazan, you will probably pee yourself when hearing this news. 2 more Rockstar games make it to the PS2 to PS4 collection this week, and this time it's Bully and Manhunt. Both games are priced at $15 in the US. They both are up-rendered to 1080p, support trophies, share play, remote play, and other things you don't really care about. Because seriously, who gives a fuck about share play? Who uses that? Does it even work? I don't think so. But anyway, this is an interesting one because we talk about this on the upcoming Talking Shit episode. Sort of coincidentally, we talked about Bully and Manhunt in the same topic, which is we sort of argued about whether or not Bully should be either remastered or if it should get a sequel. Like, we had a conversation where it's got to be one or the other. And I think if Rockstar is as smart as I think they are, they have to have Red Dead released by the end of this year or early next year, and they have to announce Bully soon. And I think it'll be a Bully 2, and I think this proves that they're still thinking about that game and that universe. And I think the fact that they're bringing the original game to PS2 to PS4 proves that they probably aren't going to do a remastered version of Bully. And it seems if they're going to continue this franchise at all, it's more likely that it's going to be a Bully 2 rather than a remaster, which I'm much more excited for. I'm much more excited about that idea of getting a sequel rather than a remaster. I will probably get Bully on PS2 to PS4. Basically just for the trophies. It's a great story, phenomenal character work, and just a great funny dialogue. I think it's one of the funniest game, like not like laugh out loud, shit your pants like South Park. Like South Park Sick of Truth is in your face, but Bully was, I think when the time it came out, I think it was the funniest game to be released. So like that's enjoyable. If you haven't played Bully, definitely check that out. But the gameplay mechanics and the sort of the quests that you do and all of this stuff, it's definitely dated. So I would rather see sort of a more modern take on a sequel rather than, get a prettier version of still some very old gameplay. But anyway, last piece of news this week. If you've been skeptical about the Batman Telltale series, like you should be, here's some news that might put you at ease for the time being. Telltale is updating their fucking engine. Thank Christ. Engine's awful. You have a bad engine when, like you have your games on PS4 and Xbox One or whatever, and then they can also run on a fucking iPad. That in itself tells me the engine is not that impressive, and it makes your game run like shit. I'm glad that they are starting to finally look at that and be like, oh, maybe we should finally start taking care of our games. And I'm glad that they decided to do it with Batman. I'm excited to see what their take on Batman is. That's really all I have to think about it. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been BCG News. Thank you so much for joining me in this sort of low budget episode this week. This is the show. This is the #1 BCG news show on the internet. So thank you guys. So I don't even know how to wrap up this show anymore. I'm a fucking wreck. this has been a show. It's up every Friday at 9 a.m. We'll be back next week at Friday at 9 a.m. Until then, stay nerdy. There we go. I wrapped up the show. There you guys go. Go fuck yourselves. I know how to wrap up a show. A new show, a nerdy new show. I know how to do that. Fuck yeah.